Alright. What we have here is what I often like to describe as someone who gets it. This deck is basically a red-black deck, but it's like, you know what, Jeff? You know what the best card... You know what the best card in Pioneer is? You know what the best card in Standard is? It's Once Upon a Time. That really messed up free cantrip that adds an absurd degree of consistency to everything. So we've got 6 green shock lands and 4 copies of Once Upon a Time. I actually really like the 6 shock lands, the Once Upon a Times here. I'm a little bit suspect on these Vraskas and the Cindervines and the Assassin Trophies in the sideboard. I'm not sure that we're casting any of these cards consistently with just 6, but like the first bump is free with Once Upon a Time, so like by the time you cast the second one, you're probably gonna have one of your green sources. So I think this is a super sweet splash, especially with like Dr. PZ and Bedlam Reveler and stuff like that. But I think these Vraskas and the green cards on the sideboard might be a bit suspect. Burgle in chat had recommended maybe playing Chandra, Torch of Defiance here, and I think that's an excellent planeswalker as well. So something we're going to want to think about while we're playing today is not only like how does this compare to Chandra, but like how castable is this Vraska versus Chandra as we play the games. So dive on into a Pioneer League. So far, we have cashed every Pioneer League we've played. Hopefully we can keep that up. Yeah, I mean, Vraska's kind of a card advantage engine. Like, you theoretically have 1/1 tokens from Pyromancer to throw away, but, like, that's not a guarantee. I would love to play first. Yep, in. We've not seen a ton of Treasure Cruise. We have seen a number of dig through time, though. I will update the stream decker now. My lukewarm take, that's been my lukewarm take when it was Modern Legal too, is that dig through time is much, much better than Treasure Cruise. And I think especially in a format like this where you can't turbo the Treasure Cruise out with cards like Thought Scour, that's definitely going to be the case. So I'm doing Mythgard 2 days a week, Chobo. And we did Mythgard on Monday and Wednesday this week. Grafted Gravestone enters the battlefield tapped. Choose a color of a card in your graveyard. Add 1 mana of that color. Interesting. Alright, so this hand kind of sucks for us to look at. Like, they've got 2 ways to kill my Pyromancer. I think I'm just taking Bone Crusher Giant, because that kills my Pyromancer and it leaves them a thing behind. So I play green and Modern in the form of Jund. Should I play Once Upon a Time if it's really that good? Yeah, probably. I mean, the real question is, like, if you're playing Jund in Modern, you probably should just, like, reconsider your life choices and do whatever you want, because you're probably not playing to win. But, like, if you wanted to maximize within the arbitrary confines that you've given yourself, yeah, I'd say you should be playing the good card. Dr. P. Rizzle has entered the house. Never seen them bounce this or just Silent Gravestone. They drew another Bone Crusher Giant. Brutal. We drew another P. Rizzle. Deal. In. So the word historic is not mentioned in any of the queues on Magic Arena. In order to play it, you have to... Magic is such a god-awful tilting game. Such a god-awful low variance tilting game. What was I going to say? You have to have a historic legal deck and then just enter the unranked best of 1 queue. There's no best of 3 option to play it. Not even unranked. Ooh, that was a really good draw. I would like to spin her back and redraw this Pyromancer. Thank you. I think this is a lot about Magic. The deck is completely consistent as a reason to get it banned. I mean, kinda. So like, it's not about its specific consistency level. Everything's about proportions, right? So like, it's not that this deck is too consistent so much that like its consistency in comparison to other decks and their consistency is like what you actually want to look at. Well, I mean, Jund's super expensive, so if you have Jund, you could probably turn it into most any other deck. Yeah, taking 4 is a little bit of a beating. That is for sure. So they have a Graftstone in their hand, they have a Supreme Verdict, they have a Brazen Borrower. Hopefully, this Murderous Rider is going to be able to gain us some more life. Interesting that they elected to tap their Mountain to strategic planning there, because now they can't play the other Bone Crusher. Imagine a 3-mana Planeswalker who only draws a card every 3 turns. What a world. I mean, to be fair, like, Oko doesn't technically draw cards, right? He impacts the board. Your foil Oko arrives today and it's doubled in price since you order it. God bless. Hey, someone was talking a second ago about Treasure Cruise versus not. Graftstone alongside Treasure Cruise is interesting. Just gonna get my hand empty here, I think. There's 3 instants of sorceries in my bin. So, like, I expect them to verdict me here. And then next turn we can go, like, draw a land, play Bedlam Reveler, draw 3, and gas up. And if we break on a land, we can, like, cast whatever spell we draw, or we can play Murderous Rider. We can also roll back this Liliana and pick Young Pyromancer back up. So their hand is Brazen Borrower, and then a bunch of cards I don't know. Alright, yep. I'm just going to go ahead and roll this back and grab Dr. P. Rizzle. Failed to hit another instant or sorcery there, but I've got Wild Slash in my hand, so that's nice. Yeah, Pioneer's been great so far. We played 5 leagues yesterday, planning to do 4 more today. Seemed like there's a lot of good stuff going on. Possibility Storm. Yep. I mean, yep. Do I want to Wild Slash them in response? Probably not. Well, if they have a 3-mana Jeffrey, we're locked out of playing spells, right? They're playing all adventure cards, and this is the only instant in their deck. That's awesome. I ain't even mad. I ain't even mad. That's why there's ramp. They're ramping into Possibility Storm, and that's why they're playing Treasure Cruise instead of Dig. Look at this. They've got Merchant of the Veil, Brazen Borrower, and Bone Crusher Giant. Because for those not familiar with how these adventure cards interact, the adventure cards are creatures everywhere except when they're on the stack. So they've got Teferi to lock us out with Possibility Storm, but also any of the adventure cards turn into Nexus of Fate when they cast them. That's sick. Yeah, every adventure instant turns into Nexus of Fate, Burgle. That's awesome. That is phenomenal. All right, what are we doing here? Murderous Rider seems less than stellar. I think they're going to be killing my stuff, which makes Kolaghan's command pretty okay. Fiery Impulse and Wild Slash and Fiery Impulse seem pretty medium. Although I guess Fatal Push is probably worse. I guess Fatal Push, it's hard to trigger the Revolt on this in this deck. Can I put my tier 3 sub from 2 days in the future into the opponent's deck? Yeah, definitely. Submit it through the form when it pops up, Time Lord. So, as a reminder for me. Alright, let's try this. I think Nexus of Fate will be on the chopping block. I doubt it. I don't know. Anybody who's telling you they understand what's going to be on the ban list in this format is either an idiot or they're lying to you. Again, lots of people like to have lots of hot takes early in formats because they want to sound smart, and on the chance that they get it right, like, they were the first one there. But, like, the actual answer is we don't know. Wait and see. I know that's not the sexy, exciting answer, but, like, again, there's just not a substitute for hard work. You gotta show up and put in the time. The cool interaction we're talking about. So my opponent is playing the card Possibility Storm, which says whenever a player casts a spell, that spell gets exiled or goes to the bottom of their deck or something, and then you flip cards off the top of your deck till you find another card with that card type, and you cast that new card instead. So they're pairing Possibility Storm with all of these adventure instants to turn any of their adventure instants that they cast into Nexus of Fate. And 3 mana Teferi, the way it interacts with Possibility Storm, locks your opponent out of casting spells. So they have 3 mana Teferi with Possibility Storm to lock the opponent out of casting spells, and it allows them to turn anything they draw into a Nexus of Fate, so they get more chances to find their Teferi and lock the opponent out. My first impressions are that I have no first impressions. Formats, the honeymoon period of Magic formats is always fun. It's always interesting. There's always lots to see, lots to do. And like, trying to draw conclusions while we're still in the honeymoon period just doesn't make a lot of sense. The honeymoon period in this format is likely to last a little bit longer than the honeymoon period in standard formats because the card pool is bigger, and they've announced that they plan to aggressively manage this format with off-cycle bannings. So that's a real thing as well. Oh my gosh. Oh, I've made a huge mistake. Oh, that's huge. This isn't a mountain. Dang it. Alright, well, I don't have a Pyromancer in plan. I don't have an Elemental. That's super unfortunate. I should have played this last turn. In my head, I was putting this into play tapped, and then this was coming into play untapped this turn. It's a pretty big mistake. So I should have a Pyromancer and a token in play right now. So should have played this tap last turn, then gone swap Pyromancer, Thoughtseize this turn. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good sign that they're like learning from their mistakes with Modern. And like, I think that's part of the reason why we finally saw Stoneforge Mystic unbanned too, and hopefully we'll see other cards unbanned in Modern. Like, it seems like someone there is finally like grasping onto the fact that like the power level of these cards is super contextual, and like just because they were too good in Standard or Extended or wherever they were too good, like doesn't mean they're going to be too good here. Yeah, it was real bad. I agree. Adventure interaction is more awesome. If you loop a creature with Possibility Storm, you can cast the adventure half whenever you hit. Yeah. Yeah, it looks sweet. Looks similar to what this opponent's doing. Maybe a little bit different. They're playing something that's a little bit more controlling. They have like Supreme Verdicts and stuff in their deck. So you have Bone Crusher and Merchant in Exile. I can technically play one of these Bedlam Revelers. I don't know that I want to, though. Do I want to Thoughtseize them? They have 3 cards in their hand. They have Island, Brazen Borrower, and then 1 card I don't know. If I Thoughtseize them... I think I was going to make 2 1/1s. And attack for 3 here. Because if I flashback something with the Chandra here, I can't guaranteed cast the Bedlam next turn. Yeah, the person who submitted this deck actually had 4 Bedlam Revelers in it, and I cut 1 Burgle. They're super chunky. We've also like been unfortunate and drawn 2 of the 3 2 games in a row, which I think is obviously not great, but my wallet won't be as angry with me when I buy fetch lands. Maybe. I don't know. The way MTG Finance works, cards don't really get cheaper. Well, I assume we can no longer win the game. Oh, buddy old pal. Oh, buddy old pal. Maybe they don't have another adventure creature. Maybe they don't have another adventure creature. Because any adventure creature they cast at this point as an instant turns into an Nexus of Fate. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people like you, Chobo, who just like never sold anything, have been playing since about this time. The opponent's enchantment is Possibility Storm. So when they cast this sorcery, Possibility Storm exiles cards off the top of their deck until they find another sorcery, and then they cast that one instead. So they've got strategic planning here. And based on their deck, the only instant in their deck is Nexus of Fate. So if they find an adventure creature here like Haggle, they haggle and then cast Nexus of Fate. Yes, Teferi in play stops your opponent from casting spells with Possibility Storm. So like, they play their own Teferis alongside Possibility Storm, because if they have Teferi and Possibility Storm out, you can't cast any spells. Because Teferi says you don't get to ignore the timing restriction. That Possibility Storm does. I'm not sure that we can win from here. We'll see. Because there's no guarantee that they have infinite turns at this point. Is it me, or have the recipients of sub-gifts only recently gotten these gift box badges, or was that the box for gifting a sub has been there for a long time. It wasn't always there, but it's been there for a while at this point. Alright, so let's start with Wild Slash and see where we go. Oh, the places we'll go. Huh? What are the instants in my deck right now? I have K Command and other Wild Slashes. I have Once Upon a Time. Yep. Is it crazy to target this? Oh, flashing back things with Chandra works. Okay, so I can go Chandra. Target this Angrath Rampage. And say, you sack a creature. And so they messed up now. So now I can attack with this, and this gets to flashback Wild Slash and kill this. Hey, thanks for the tip, Scholar. I appreciate it. Oop. Put this sort just guy possibility. Sounds good. We'll do. I still don't understand how you can't flashback with Tefn play. So you can flashback spells with Tefn play, but you can't recast them with Chandra. And the reason for that distinction is because Chandra has you cast the spell while her ability's on the stack. And essentially, what Teferi's text says is you can't do things while there's stuff on the stack, is what it comes down to. I did not conquer. I don't really care about those frames. The channel points chilling things is something that's integrated into Twitch that's slowly being rolled out. All right, so I think I'm gonna attack with this. No, that's not what I said. An 8-dog. A split second is technically different than what I just described. Alright. We're just like sitting here flipping through our deck. I would love to cast a Bedlam Reveler. Yeah, I'm aware. I think I'm going to flash back a Thoughtseize with Chandra. Although now I kind of want to just do that. Yeah, let's just tick her to 3. They're going to play this Brazen Borrower at my end step. So, like, I was planning to just cash Chandra in. But now there's a chance that this Wild Slash turns into a Fiery Impulse so we can kill the Brazen Borrower to keep Chandra alive. Which would be nice. I mean, I think this whole format's probably going to be pretty lukewarm. I think a lot of people are wildly overestimating the power level this format's going to have in it. I think a lot of people are underestimating how much power level not having perfect mana removes from a format. So we are able to resub on mobile now. Android supports Prime subs now, yep. Alright, so we didn't get to kill the Brazen Borrower, but they are dead on board. So they kind of got their thing going, but then weren't able to fully loop through it. Do I want Assassin's Trophies in my deck so I can flip into them when they have... I have Fries in my deck too. Yeah, I think actually thinking about how that played out, I don't want Fries and Noxious Grasp. I think I want these Assassin's Trophies. I want to put Tibalt in my deck because he can flip into a better Planeswalker when Possibility Storm is out. Yeah, incidental graveyard filling too. Did we ever finish the Elves deck? We did. We went and played the whole league, actually. In fact, the first match that we played and lost, Magic Online nullified out of the league, so we got to play a full 5 matches again. This is our first match with the deck, so we've not played a matchup where boarding and Bontu's is good. Feature compensation, yeah, something like that. Oh, waiting. You never get punished on Moto for making your opponents wait. I mean, the record of a deck is completely irrelevant. The Elf deck felt pretty reasonable overall. Felt a little bit rough against the mono-red prowess deck, or the red-based prowess deck. Might want to try and think about that and shore it up, but again, if your response to, like, is a deck good or bad is, like, what was the record? Like, that's not really thinking critically about what the deck's doing and why it's good or bad. Pretty easy mulligan here. Opponent is conceded from the game, and we just had a real-life thing come up. That happens. Unfortunate end to a otherwise interesting match, but, you know, real life takes priority over video games sometimes. All questions about will you do X should always be answered through the forum on the website. I don't say yes or no to deck list ideas without looking at the cards. Exploring new formats is always exciting. We don't know what this format actually looks like yet, because we're still trying to figure it out. How are you supposed to play Tron and Pioneer? You're not. That's why Pioneer, one of the reasons why Pioneer probably feels great so far. No Tron, no Valakut. Sign me up. No Urza. Yep. This hand could use some lands, but pretty reasonable otherwise. In Pioneer, 1+1+1 is always 3. Yep. You love Tron. That's great. Go play Modern. I'm also excited because when I told people yesterday they could switch their Modern decks to Pioneer decks if they wanted, like a third of the decks in the Modern queue got switched over. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, only 7 Modern decks waiting to be played. God bless us, everyone. Can't wait for our Goblin Dark Dwellers to be Elk Dark Dwellers. What are the main reasons you don't like fetch lands or prefer a fetchless format besides constant stuffing? Restrictions breed creativity. Is the TLDR for why I like this fetchless format. Feather. All right. I'm glad I've got this Murderous Rider. Nope, that was the wrong one. Swift End, that one. Get your Doomblades. Get your Doomblades here. Doomblades hot off the press. Am I washing my hands of Modern if Pioneer goes well? I mean, I'm gonna pseudo force the issue by I've increased the price of Modern submissions, which that will naturally force there to be less Modern, because less people are willing to pay $50 to see a deck. For the time being, I think I still plan to do some Modern with some consistency. Like one day a week for 1 to 2 decks. And if we run low on submissions, I'll just put my own Modern decks into the Modern queue to be played. Because I don't really... The conclusion I've come around to is that it's not that I really dislike Modern. It's that the types of decks people are willing to pay me to play tend to just provide miserable gameplay experiences because they're just not good. And like, in the defense of people submitting their decks that are not good, I bet a lot of the decks they're submitting are fine at their local game store, but like, Magic Online leagues tend to be a little bit more brutal than like LGS Modern. Like, LGS Modern for a lot of people is effectively casual Magic with the Modern ban list. Would like to end you swiftly. Maybe I'm supposed to do this during their upkeep, or just Defiant Striking deal. So far, they've played a few things. We're on the kill all their things plan. Feels reasonable so far. I'm going to make them discard a card here and pick my Young Pyromancer back up. Get the good clean 2-for-1 on this Kolaghan's command. Opponent's had enough. They've seen all they need to see. Are Noxious Grasps and Fries too much for what they're doing? Maybe. Like, do they have white creature other than Feather? There's white, there are white, heroic creatures they're probably playing, right? I feel like I want to trim at least one Bedlam Reveler. I mean, like, keeping Feather off the table is, like, pretty important, huh? I feel like I don't mind dragging the curve down. I think I want to get rid of these. They could be playing Monastery Mentor. Yeah, that's a good call. Hey, Wiggly Cobra. Thanks for the Prime support. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Hope you're having an excellent day wherever you are. Let's try it. Let's try this. Just like max removal spells. All Doomblades on deck type matchup. In. Thoughtseize you, kill your things. Thoughtseize you twice, kill your things. Hey, thanks for the 8 months, Moonlight. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Can I get the thing about modern at LGS basically being casual with modern ban list turned into a clip? Me and my friends were discussing that. I'd like to send it to him. I mean, you can just link him the timestamp of the Twitch VOD, right? We have no idea, Moxian. Nobody knows anything. Nobody knows what's going on. So do I Rampage here or do I double Thoughtseize? The problem is if I don't Rampage anytime soon, this Crusader is just going to get to make tokens. So I think I'm supposed to Rampage them now. And then, like, next turn I can Thoughtseize plus Assassin's Trophy. But at that point, my second Thoughteize might be drawing dead. I aim to please, be rich. So people have been asking about potential Brawl content on the channel. And I think for the sake of continuing to do some arena content, if standard stays bad, we're probably going to end up dipping into Brawl. Just because the current standard format's real rancid. Ed Ice, thanks for the 16 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Brawl's also an Oko riddled format from my understanding though, so like I don't even know. Yeah, we're both in top deck territory. Our health total is low and they have a 1/1 though. But like any creature is like real good for us, right? I think it's a good time to sell all modern cards. I think whenever you're done playing with them, it's a good time to sell your cards. I'm firmly of the opinion that if all your Magic cards being suddenly worth $0 would cause you financial distress, you shouldn't own them. Magic's a great game. It's a bad investment engine. You should only spend money on Magic that's extra money. I'm effectively not playing Magic right now. I think the Field of the Dead ban was the biggest mistake WotC's made in years in a format. Yeah, I agree. Burgle, honestly, I think it's close. Maybe you could argue it's not the worst mistake, but I think it's up there for most heinous. Like, it's up there for me for the most, this is obviously going to be the result of this decision, and the result of this decision is going to be obviously bad. So, like, historic cues are a different decision-making process. So things like the historic cues are things that are being decided by suits with clipboards. Like, that's not Magic people making that decision, right? Like, the banning decision is like looking at it from a purely decisions R&D is making perspective. I think it's up there for one of the worst decisions that like R&D has ever made. It's like I think it's worth differentiating decisions that like they have autonomy over in like side of R&D and like decisions that like they get hamstrung on by like management. Neme, thank you for the 18 months of support there. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. All right, so I'm going to grab Foreboding Ruins here, and then I can go Runes. Reveal this, Thoughtseize you. Yeah, but Burgle, they could have done nothing, and they also could have banned other things, like banning Nissa and banning Hydroid Crisis were also like very reasonable options that they could have done. I think I'm just going to go ahead and punch through their creatures at this point. Well, the Sheltering Light's pretty annoying. I'm going to take the Sheltering Light, actually. Well, at least we have our green to cast these once upon a times. How do you feel about team events being modern, pioneer, standard? I think that would be a great idea. I think you're very likely to see team events turn into pioneer, modern, standard. I also think there's a chance that you could see team events turn into modern, pioneer, legacy. Just because, like, people don't like showing up to play standard. Like, even as someone who's, like, capable of being objective when looking at things, like, even when standard is good, it still tends to be less popular than non-rotating formats. What about a 5-format team event? That sounds awful. Trying to get 3 people together for a team is miserable. Trying to get 5 people together for a team sounds god-awful. Hey, look, it's the first game this Bedlam Reveler hasn't sucked. So they have a God's Willing here. Am I supposed to... I'm going to start with Once Upon a Time. I'm going to wait on the Bedlam Reveler here, I think. Arcanist is sweet. Which would be more of a gating issue, though. I have no idea. You can't really measure that, Garden Variety Troll. I don't think there's an objective way to figure that out. Played Urta, the Silencer, in the Brawl event. Didn't lose a single match. Didn't expect that. They have another pump spell here. I think this is fine with me if they trade these here, because the next turn I just get to go Fiery Impulse Bedlam Reveler. Oh, they had Reckless Rage anyways. They're just trying to get a freebie in. Sure. Huh? Alright. No! God bless America, my country. 'Tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. I'm going to miscast these adventures constantly. Bum, 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 bum. Do 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 do. It's a real tilt right there, chat. Surreal tilt right there. Yeah, I need to stop floating mana before I cast them. You need to just, like, float mana after, basically. They're going to use God's Willing here to kill Vraska. Sign me up. Means we get 4 shots to draw a removal spell with this Bedlam Reveler. What deck am I planning to play Saturday? I have no idea. If I'm being honest, the standard format kind of sucks enough that, like, if I didn't think Saturday was going to be good for viewer counts, I just wouldn't bother doing it. The only reason I'm streaming it is because, like, we had a good viewer count last time. Like, spending my Saturday playing the standard format does not sound like a particularly good use of my Saturday. I'm gonna go ahead and Fatal Push this because I want to save the Noxious Grasp in case they draw and play a Feather. I mean, nothing on Magic Arena has real prizes, so, like, the prizes you get are the friends you made along the way. Thanks for the 23 months I hurt. Welcome back. Having played a lot of Feather in Standard, these type of matchups where it's like, kill your stuff and have a removal spell are, like, pretty good. So we're like 2-0 in this event. We didn't get to play a third game in the first match because the opponent had to leave or something. Going okay so far. There's MCQ testing. Testing for Magic events is largely a waste of time. You should just play them and have fun. Magic's a game with an incredible amount of variance where even if you spend a lot of time testing, the likely result is that you're going to lose and there's nothing you can do about it. So, I'm gonna pick a deck that I think I might have fun with tomorrow and then play some matches and hope to get lucky. Because you have to hope to get lucky regardless of what you play. Yes, the Freak. You still need to submit them through the form on my website, though, because I don't accept all build-arounds. Some things are just not playable. Charming Prince, my Thraben Expector, make another clue. Oh, Scry 2. Oh. Oh. The prince does not wish to investigate. I'm just gonna shock this and shatter their clue. Attack them for 2. Just use all my mana this turn. Still loving the content. If you get dealer's choice points for the deck coming up, 5-color Niv and Pioneer, sweet. I'm 7 and 10 and 8 and Pioneer. I mean, everything's sweet. Results are meaningless. Results are always meaningless. Results are extra meaningless at the start of a format. What Pioneer deck have I enjoyed the most so far? The Jeskai deck we played yesterday was really sweet. The Cat Combo deck was decent too. Alright, so we get to second Dr. Peasy here. And then next turn we can slam the Golgari Queen down and start eating the elemental tokens. So that's kind of nice. I mean, are you surprised, Watercat? 7 mana uncastable sorcery sounds like peak Twitch chat fetish. Murderous Rider? Feels like Murderous Rider. Sick. What you got? What you working with over there? Oh. Oh. Cloud Blazer. 420 blaze it, yo. Draw 2, gain 2 life. Well, I'm going to take the Felidar Guardian. They have a Muldrifter, but Felidar combo kills them. Hey, the Freak, thanks for the tip. Feel free to splash a 3rd color. Sounds excellent. We'll do. Well, we've got some tokens, chat. I think I think we just go on the offensive here. I think I'm just like, kill this, wild slash this, attack you. Just like get this game over with. My Pyromancers have made enough tokens, I'm just going to offer the trade. Because, like, even if they trade, they take 9 here. Go. Your move, Yugi boy. This is all we've got. Has Wizards ever banned a mythic from the current set? I'm not sure that they have. Was Aetherworks Marvel in the most recently released set when it got banned? Had the next set not released? Yeah, I thought Marvel survived a while. Like, I'm not talking about banning mythics in general. I'm talking about specifically banning mythics in the that are currently in the latest set. Because they've definitely banned mythics before, but I don't think they've ever banned a mythic while it was in the latest release set. No, Emrakul survived a long time too. All right, we're gonna go back to just like, you know, actual rules of this channel. If you're gonna tell me something that you think got banned and don't link a source, I'm gonna time you out. Because most of you are wrong, so stop making stuff up. This isn't Trump's Twitter account. You don't just get to make stuff up and post it in my chat. Be correct or don't bother. Looter Scooter was banned, but it was a rare. Yep. Jace got banned quickly, but not just like... Do people not understand, like, what the words that fell out of my mouth? Am I speaking a language that isn't English? Sometimes I feel like there's a communication barrier. Say what again? What if I preference my sentences with a lot of people are saying? Yeah, look, I'm not wrong. It's a lot of other people who are saying it. So like, if this is incorrect, it's not my fault, it's the other people's fault. Please remove responsibility for me. Something, Republicans are the party of personal accountability. Something nonsense. Oh, this castle. This castle's been much worse than a mountain so far. I would be surprised if this card is better than a basic mountain. I'm gonna take the Charming Prince because it disrupts their curve the most. They have 2 4-drops here. Nah, I don't think it means anything. I think you're just reading into things because you want to. I think the timing of the announcement is in large part due to the fact that the different departments at Wizards of the Coast largely don't communicate with each other. Which is why a lot of the decisions that get made that come out of Wizards of the Coast feel confusing and disconnected because the departments don't work well together. I think you should live your best life, Korluski. It's gonna be okay. Dr. Dre says, I think we're dead, chat. I think we've missed a land and are going to die. A lot of people are saying that if you're frequently winning a paper tournament, you're probably cheating. Sometimes you just run hot. There was one point in my very early Magic career that I top 8'd 3 opens in a row. And then I lost win-and-ins in back-to-back opens the weekend after that. So I almost top 8'd 5 opens in a row. Sometimes you just run a little bit good. Well, I mean, like, the fact that they released Brawl and they didn't ban Oko to start is, like, kind of silly. What I'm saying is sometimes lucky. Hashtag sometimes lucky. Yeah, there's a Reddit thread clipping that being posted now. Yeah, it's all the cumulative variance, right? I had a bad run immediately after. Hey, Alkalol, thanks for the 22 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Hope you're having a good one wherever you are. Tithe Taker. Yeah. Huh. I don't have anything for my Dreadhorde Arcanist to do, chat. It's very sad. Reflector Mage, Vomit. So this card, for people not familiar, is a 2/3, and when it comes into play, it returns an opposing creature to its owner's hand, and then that player can't recast that spell the following turn. So I cannot play Dreadhorde Arcanist here because it was Reflector Mage last turn. But Jin, I thought we only added Mythic Rarity because we wanted to make a limited a better experience. We didn't add Mythic Rarities for the booster packs to sell. We added Mythic Rarity because it makes limited better. Right? Right, guys? Guys, hey, listen. Guys, this attack is very bad, and the reason why it's very bad is because it lets me kill this 3-bit Inspector and then kill their Saheeli Ray. So, if they would have left this back, I would have had to trade my Young Pyromancer for the Spirit token in order to kill their Planeswalker, and now I don't have to do that, which is very good for me. How does Mythic cards make limited better? Because they theoretically can put high power cards at Mythic, so they appear in limited less often. Yeah, of course Mythic was for the money. For anybody that missed my dripping sarcasm, of course Mythics have always been about the money. Dollar bills, y'all. What do you think Fried Gideon tastes like, chat? What do we think? Fried Gideon. Fried Gideon tastes like justice. I believe it. Before Mythics, rare lands cost $20 instead of $5, so payoff. That's true. That's true. The induction of Mythics does cause more boosters to be open because it does sell packs, and more packs being open does often tend to push down the price of rare cards. Although Fabled Passage is like 20 bucks right now, right? Why doesn't that Planeswalker survive Fry? I don't get it. Asking the real questions. Because I have 2 trophies in my hand, I'm just going to go ahead and trophy this. That way I can get in with everything next turn. Now I want to fry art with Gideon Boots. The Bant mid-range deck we are going to play later today has 4 Chads in the main deck. Chad. Not sure I feel about Bedlam and Arcanist in the same deck list. Well, you don't always draw them together. Smuggler's Copter was banned. Was a current set rare that got banned. Hagak doesn't really count, in my opinion, because it's not a normal set. Fabled Passage is 1750. Yikes. Scale of 1 to dead. What are we working with here, opponent? Shock to 3. Is that a concession shock? Here's hoping. Okay. Wait. Why wouldn't you blink a basic? I mean, they were dead regardless, right? Like, I could just trophy this or shock this. Like, they were dead no matter how they sliced it. They just, like, shocking the land and meant they died on their turn instead of dying on our turn. So, like, look at that. 3-0. So we've cashed our 6th Pioneer League in a row. As someone who 0-3'd 3 of his last 4 Modern Leagues, playing Pioneer is refreshing, chat. As someone who 0-3'd 3 of the last 4 Modern Leagues we played because of viewer submissions being viewer submissions, you know? Can we talk about how terrible this Castle Embereth is? If this Castle Embereth was a basic mountain, it would put this into play untapped on 1 and this into play untapped on 3. The fact that this isn't a basic mountain means my hand goes from having all untapped lands to 0 untapped lands, which is like a big deal. Main deck Leyline of Sanctity. Are we bogling? I think we're bogling. I'll be speaking to my Twitch chat lawyer. This is clearly false advertising. There's Ashioks in the boards. This is obviously 4-color Pyromancer. Apologies. I'm only interested in aggressive decks. Should I dump my Fabled Passages or hold on to them? In what format? So aggressive decks in Standard will probably play Fabled Passage. Can we ever win this matchup? Can our deck as constructed ever win this matchup? Maybe if they don't have lifelink, we can race. Maybe. I have 1 Angrath Rampage. And I don't have to shock myself anymore, so that's good. We might have been able to, wait, is that his first strike? Yeah, of course it does. We might have been able to race if I would have had untapped lands this game, but like, the Castle Embereth meant that I didn't have any untapped lands either, so like, things went pretty poor. There's no Daybreak Coronet in this format, but there is Armadillo Cloak, Unflinching Courage. Okay, that bodes well for us. Unflinching Courage is Armadillo Cloak. Is the TLDR. Well, shoot. Go. That's actually a pretty good draw. I think I'm just going to go ahead and pass here. So my plan is to shock my Murderous Rider, make me discard Collective Brutality. And we're probably dead because Griffspoon. I'm pretty much accepting all Pioneer decks at this point for the right price. I have raised the price from the original $10 because there was a huge flood of Pioneer decks. There's currently more Pioneer decks waiting to be played in my queue than all other formats combined. So I did them for 10 initially, and a few people got in at 10, but those people are gonna have to end up waiting a bit. And we're dead. Even Angrath Rampage doesn't really do much here. Because they had Leyline. Rough. Yeah, Bontu's is good. Good call. The rest of this is as good as it gets. Jeff's shirt makes it look like he's wearing a backpack. It kind of does. It's a little cold in my office. And I don't like to kick the heat up when I'm the only one home during the day. Yeah, we've got Duress, and we have our one copy of Angrath Rampage, so, you know, Leyline me. We didn't get Leyline, chat. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. Take my hand. We'll make it, I swear. Oh, do 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 do. All right, chat. I want to be very clear. Once Upon a Time is the best card in Standard. It's probably the best card in Pioneer, and it's very likely the best card in Modern. Just so my opinion on the card is abundantly clear. It is strange to me that they would elect to print that card when in the past they have banned cards like Green Sun Zenith. So I didn't kill this right away, even though they have the cartouche, because I've got a Wild Slash, so I can still clear our way through this. I'm gonna gamble a little bit and try and hit a red source here. Castle's untapped, right? Just one mountain? Yep. Free spells are fine to print as long as they're green. It feels like that's the rule for everything these days. It's like X is fine to print as long as it's green. And so it's okay to do the busted thing as long as it's green getting the busted thing. All right, and we might punk them out of this game here. So they have Unflinching Courage, then one card we don't know. We get to Angrath Rampage, this Glade Cover Scout. Sack a dude. I guess, and actually, we've been crapping on this castle, but something this castle does do is it gives Dreadhorde Arcanist a second power to flash back 2 mana spells. So, like, that is something that could be relevant. It's a 0 mana Ancient Strings. I don't know that calling it 0 mana is quite fair, but it's a very cheap Ancient Stirrings. You're not wrong. I think I'm gonna mulligan this hand. I think I want discard spells, and I want my 1 Rampage, and I want Young Pyromancer for a clock. This hand is also quite bad. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this. We're gonna bottom double Wild Slash here. How many lands could reasonably be cut by adding 4 once upon a time? I've been cutting like 2 lands for most of my deck. Like 2 lands, 2 spells to fit once in. Huh? Enjoying sweet interactive magic? I mean, our Bontu's Reckoning probably means we have a leg up here. Like, this isn't like modern Bogles where they have, what's it called? The Umbras aren't legal in this format, so like, Sweepers are genuinely good in this matchup. Whereas like, Sweepers generally aren't good against modern Bogles. I just need to do this right away. So Bontu's Last Reckoning destroys all creatures in play, and then my lands don't untap during my next untap step. So my lands are going to stay tapped this turn. Hey, Siri, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome to Hooglandia. Hope you're having an excellent day wherever you are. And they did have a follow-up threat here with all that glitters. They're going to be able to return Griff's Boon from their discard pile here. So they're going to crack us for 5 this turn. Next turn I get to Vraska plus kill all that glitters. So obviously our best draw here is our 1 copy of Angrath Rampage. Duress, sure. Alright, so. Yep. So can't kill their creature because it's hexproof. So they still have a 3/1 here. I expect we'll see them kill Vraska this turn. Yep. This has flying, so we're dead in 2 to 3, depending on what they draw. Glade Cover Scout, not too big of a deal. We bottomed our Angrath Rampage there, but I'm enjoying the content for a while, so I figured I'd finally throw you some burrito money. I appreciate it. Whenever this deals damage to an opponent, draw a card. Yikes. 6th Sense is really good. Probably dead at this point. Opponent very smartly keeping that basic forest that we know about in their hand. It plays their own Kolaghan's command, discarding their draw step. Although they're playing it out now. What does that do? Gets 1/2. If you cast it during your main phase, enchant your creature gets lifelink for a turn. Sure. So any +1 attack kills us next turn. I believe we're on the 0 outer here now, right? They drew another brick this turn. Is there a good replacement for Corvold? There's not. I figured that matchup was going to be hard when we queued up into it. I think you could definitely tool this deck to beat Bogles if that's a matchup that you care about. As constructed, this deck does not have good tools for that matchup. Obviously, you can steal a game or 2 here or there if they get a little bit unlucky, but I think their average draw is going to kill our average draw regardless. Yeah, Corvold's a super unique effect. I mean, you don't even need Liliana the Veil. Like, Angrath Rampage is a great example of, like, a pretty reasonable card that, like, is decent in that matchup. You could play more sweepers. Rankle could be a sweet card. I could see that one being constructed playable. It really speaks volumes to the power level of this current standard format. Just like how many cards in the current standard format are like super playable in this new non-rotating format. Liliana's Triumph, I think, is much worse than Angrath's Rampage. Need pictures of my kids? If you scroll my Twitter timeline, there's probably some up there. It's a little... Maybe I'm just super jaded on people in general, but that question's a little weird. Someone who has low levels of trust for the general human population. The 2016 election was not good for my ability to trust people. People make really bad decisions pretty constantly. As someone who mostly watches YouTube content from yourself and other streamers, I want to thank you for conceding when you are in garbage time. Watching live means I can't just fast forward when you know you're dead. Yeah, I frequently turn streamers off when they like sit there and play through garbage time, because it's just like, come on, you know. Like, this game is done. Stop wasting our time. If they hadn't down-ticked this, Angrath's Rampage would have finished her off, which is nice. Like I said, I think this format's going to be Planeswalker-centric enough that this card is super reasonable. Land is super sweet here because it lets me go, you sacrifice a creature, and then I play Dreadhorde Arcanist. So they have Fatal Push on top of their deck, but now I have two good creatures in play, which is sweet. Worth noting that the Corsair Crew Fix is a creature and enchantment, so their Traverse the Elven Walls now have Deliriums. They can go get whatever they want with them. I disagree with that, Foxicon. I think the current standard format is just super high-powered. Graph Widow, 3 or more, 1/2 spiders with reach. Yeah. That card's real good. And a Collie Toss, yep. Alright, so let's Fatal Push this, and then cast Bedlam Reveler. To be fair, the result of the 2016 election wasn't the result. I mean, it wasn't the choice of a majority of the country, but it was the choice of a significant chunk of the country. So, Donald Trump definitely lost the popular vote, but he got a significant number of votes. A lot of people voted for bigotry and hate. You're correct that it wasn't the majority. But it sure was a whole heck of a lot. Oh, their tokens are bigger than my tokens, chat. They have a Kalitas in their hand here too. Or we just... Yeah, we'll get to see if that's the case in 2020, Evil Moss. Thoughts on splashing for just Mayhem Devil in the mono black deck? I think you should just play the 2-color deck at that point. Put that towards Rhino, Oko. Will do, Whipping Rhinos. For people who are redeeming points, by the way, I think I need to bring this up more often, because I think people might not be aware. I don't think it shows you all the options unless you have the points. 10,000 shillings to bump a deck by 1 point is not the only option. If you save up more than that, you can get more points, and the ratios are better. So 30,000 shillings bumps the deck by 5 points, and 50,000 bumps the deck by 10 points. It shows them all on desktop, okay. I don't think it shows them all on mobile. Yeah, if we draw another brick here, we're probably dead. This Jace is gonna bury us. Yep. Mobile doesn't show any of them. Is Flame Sweep or Electrickery relevant in the black-red decks? I mean, it depends on what cards you're playing, Spiral. And, like, weird metagame questions like that, they're hard to answer. Because, like, they require very specific knowledge about things we just don't know. I'm gonna hang out for another turn or two, because if we, like, rip another Bedlam Reveler, we could maybe be in this. Although, Oko probably is the finish him line. Collective Brutality has felt really bad so far. The 2-2 mode doesn't kill a lot of things, and there's a lot of, like, not only adventure creatures, but planeswalkers in this format, so the discard mode on this card hasn't felt super relevant. It's a card that's felt pretty underwhelming. In comparison, we've been talking about Angrath Rampage. This card's felt very good so far. All the details on the pricing for things is listed on my website. Yeah, I agree, Punchworthy. The 3-4 stat line, that 4th point of toughness is very valuable. It's just like the Felidar Guardians being 1/4s was super good in the Oko deck. I mean, I think it's really silly to assume that, like, and this is something people do early in standard formats, too. Like, I think it's super silly to assume your opponent's doing anything in an underdeveloped format, because lots of people are going to be trying things, and you're probably going to cost yourself percentage points assuming they're doing one thing when they end up doing something else. So if you look at this deck, Arjun, the green splash is very small, and it's possible we shouldn't be playing Trophy at all with only 6 green lands. Like, we have some cantrips, like, people that are talking about the spells, like, remember, your spells are dictated by your mana base. You need to look at the deck as a whole before you make recommendations. Nerdist, thanks for the 3rd of a year, welcome back. So do we not play around anything? I didn't say that. I just said don't, like, go into it assuming, like, you know their deck list card for card. I mean, is this trying to be a graveyard synergy deck? Like, Why are you bringing up graveyard synergies? How is that relevant? Would be my question to you. Allied color mana is so much worse than the enemy pairs. Why do you say that? I actually think these lands are quite good. We don't have pain lands or fast lands in these colors. Yeah, we have these hand lands and we have creature lands though. No, creature lands are enemy. These lands are good. I'm gonna put a loyalty counter on Chandra because I think she's pretty likely to want to downtick twice in a matchup like this. Brutal. Super punished. Yeah, Hissing Quagmire's fine. I think I think all the creature lands are pretty fine. I have no idea, Evil Moss. I can't predict the future. All those what do you think is going to happen or what do you think is good questions are essentially asking me to predict the future, and the answer is I don't know, we got to try it. There's no substitute for hard work. Gotta put in the hours. OG Mad Willie, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hooglandia. People just randomly guessing what's going to be good and bad is how you end up with professional players looking like idiots saying Stoneforge Mystic is too good for Modern. Brutal. They decided to attack. Like, that's like, they're probably not ghosting, but it feels spooky, right? Like, if I draw Kolaghan's command here, I could kill this and pick my Pyromancer back up, but I, like, have Bedlam Reveler in my hand and they, like, went after my thing right away. Like, this is wrong if I have a Wild Flash or a Shock, too. Jace was way too good for it. All right. I forgot about how good Jace ended up being. And like the answer is like most of the time people aren't ghosting, but it just feels bad. They probably just like made a bad play and we ended up getting punished because they made a bad play. Yeah, but they could eat it in response to Chandra Tumos. Like Tumo, that's not an instant. We're pretty dead at this point. Yeah, I guess let's see what our draw 3 is. How much would a build around for Mythgard be? 25. Mythgard's gonna use the same pricing as Arena. Oh, magic sucks and then you die. Like that feels spooky too. Like I just like haven't done actual anything. Like haven't played removal spells. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just a Pillar Assault. I don't know. My takeaways from this, again, are mostly based around, like, what the removal spells look like and what feels good and what feels bad. We played against Bogles a few times in the last couple of leagues. That was one of our losses today with this. I think Collective Brutality in general feels pretty medium in the format with the threats I played against so far, and I think I'd cut those. I think there's more than enough Planeswalkers in this format and the Bogles deck that I would go up Angrath Rampages. Honestly, I think even playing as many as 3 copies of this card could be reasonable. I think I'd get rid of the Dreadbore and probably go to like 3 Rampage. We were talking about Vraska versus 4-mana Chandra, and Vraska was actually very reasonable in the Bogles matchup, so that could be a reason to keep her. We might just want to try and get more green into the mana base overall, to try and make Vraska and like things like Assassin's Trophy more castable. The pricing for Pioneer has gone up. All that pricing's on my website. I just got too many Pioneer decks at $10 a pop. Yeah, cut the castle, even though it's cute with Dreadhorde Arcanist, was awkward. So I'd probably just cut the castle and like add a Stomping Ground as at least a seventh green source. So that was pretty reasonable overall. We got Leyline of Sanctity, so like Trophy killing bigger things I think is good. So I think I'd play Trophy. Just because I've been hurt by the Bogles chat. The Bogles have done bad things to me. Alright, so we 3-2'd with that one, another 3-2 in the books. Up next, we've got one that's kinda sweet. We've got blue-green splash Voice of Resurgence, splash Yarok, Risen Reef plus Master of Waves Elementals with Eldritch Evolution here to kind of tie the room together to find our different things that we want. We're playing a blue-green deck. So obviously we're playing Oko and Goose. I'm going to go ahead and run a quick ad break before we dive on into this one. Get Magic Online restarted, post deck list, all that jazz. So be right back with some Bant or 4-color elementals here. Yeah, voice is an elemental, and it makes elemental tokens, which is sick. Reveler felt okay in the last deck. I think 3 was the right number. Reveler sucked every time we drew 2 of them at the same time. So I don't think I'd play more than 3, but it was fine. You're gonna deck at least once, hopefully not. This deck interested in unclaimed territory. Instead of me telling you you're wrong, tell me why you're right. Do the math and look at my spells and tell me why that land's the correct land to play. You're not new here, Ghost Sandwich. Don't ask questions like that. Be helpful. Be specific. Mark Rosewater just confirmed that Historic and Pioneer were made independently by 2 different teams, which you already knew, but here's a source. I want someone to clip my thoughts on this in a second, so I'm gonna wait for the ad to finish running so Nod subs can see it too, but I'd like to talk about this. Hey, Ghazi, thanks for the 12 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Shore Crasher Elemental, return to the battlefield face down. That seems super slow and clunky. Alright, someone clip this, please, after we're done. I'm gonna try and keep this short. So, Blogatog here, this is Mark Rosewater's blog, for instance. Someone asked, it seems odd to me that Historic and Pioneer were announced so close to each other. Is this a coincidence, or the paper and digital teams do not coordinate with each other? And Mark answers, the Arena and Tabletop Magic are 2 different teams. We work in conjunction with one another, but each of us are focused on making our products the best it can be. This is something we've talked about a lot in the past few days that I've often speculated on and talked about the Glassdoor reviews at Wizards of the Coast. That there's a lot of not lack of communication between teams at Wizards of the Coast, and like this is another good example of that. And I think a lot of the frustration surrounding recent Magic releases and products are because of this. Like, Wizards, you need to get your crap together, pack it all up in a backpack, and like hire communication people to work between your teams, and you would avoid so many issues by just having your teams coordinate and work together. It's nice to hear this said point blank, something that we kind of knew, but this is incredibly frustrating as someone who consumes a lot of Magic content. This feels apparent from the outside, but it feels bad to hear it confirmed that like they are just a disorganized mess that aren't working together. So really, really frustrating overall. MTGO, and that's actually another good thing too. So MTGO is the paper team. Yeah, MTGO is real Magic. And that's what that says to me too. Like, okay, the paper team doesn't work with the digital team, but they work with Magic Online. So like, that means Magic Online is like paper Magic and Magic Arena is something different. Nah, you're fine, Jamison. You're fine. I'll send emails back out later today. MTGA is baby's first elk. Yeah, basically, it's really